Hey everybody, it's John with National Sports Entertainment, and I went into most of these games yesterday, so today I wanted to cover the 4 o'clock games. Honestly, I don't love them, but I'm sure we're going to have a leg 2 or 2, and we can go into, I can kind of reassess the 1 o'clocks if you missed them. So, as you know, if you saw my last video, we were looking good with the Bucks. Of course, it's only halftime, so I don't I like having about a 4 touchdown lead with about 4 minutes left before I start celebrating. It just, you can see anything. So, but it's looking good. And then on some of these other ones, there was one I forgot to mention the other day. And again, this is a metric where you don't like if I don't have, if you see this metric outside of my video, you can go ahead and apply it. It's not a metric that is going to change. So can't find a team ranking. So the over-under metric, as you can see this year, we have the Colts sitting on an abysmal 1-8 on the over. We also have Denver and Buffalo 1-7 on the over. You can see the under's not that bad. You have Cleveland, who is 5-2, but 70% you will have teams finish there. You're not going to have teams finish even at 25%. But looking at that, I love the over on the Colts, and I really like the over on Buffalo. So then Denver, I'm looking at that one because obviously we have a leg 4 on Denver, and we don't want to have too much on that game. But just because they fit the metric, I do like the over on Denver. So, just to show you. That one was a win. We won that by half a point last night. That was nice. Usually it goes the other way, and we seem to lose by half a point. So for sequence with number 131, I like and I'm not completely sure. I know the Colts is, I think, at 39.5 last I checked. But I don't care what the over under is. So I just am betting the metric. So for sequence 131, over on the Colts. And as I said, I was pretty sure it was like 40.5. Let's make sure exactly what it's at. I bet the official ESPN metric, that's the one they go off. So it's at 41 right now, which I thought was a little lower. So over 41. And against the Raiders, I think that's also a game where they can explain away it being done. The Raiders, they move pretty fast, and they can score. I'm not saying they're going to score a bunch of points, but to me, they can score. So, and I think Mike is talking about the Hurricanes. Yeah, they're an interesting one. I knew they were going to eventually cover, so that's why I went with the Miami Hurricanes yesterday. But yeah, they could be interesting. But so yeah, over on the Colts I like, and then for sequence 132, I know there's a lot of sequences, but from experience, I basically know. Typically, these kind of metrics, the overs here, they're going to split or better. So I just doubt, we go 1 for 3 on these overs. It's just very unlikely. So the other one we had the Buffalo over. I like that one. And I'm sure it's because people have been probably taking overs on Buffalo all year. So Vegas has been making them pay by going under. And then what happens is people finally start picking the under and the over hits. So here it's got to be higher. We're 46.5. Obviously if you wanted to buy it, it's good. It's not 47. It's a good number. Like, there's a lot that could be 47. So it's good that it's not 47.5. So if it is a trap, it seems like it might trap our way, which would be nice. And then the third one, as I said, even though we are already playing Denver with quite a bit, it's a fourth leg. I am going to go ahead and bet the over. And I'm going to guess the over here with Denver, Tennessee is going to be around 40. Probably on the nose. Let's see. 39. Okay, so 39. So that one I like as well. And I could see people taking this over, taking the other. But again, it's more for me the metrics. And for any of these three, again, they're all 1 o'clock games, but they can become leg 2s, as you know. So we do have a couple open legs, leg 2s, that we were not able to close out. So, as you can see, our biggest one's going to be Russell. But I wanted to go over those because I know I didn't yesterday. I forgot to. And I wanted to make sure they were covered. So, anytime you see that over-under metric, I like it. And the rest I like more for narrative purposes, and then trap purposes. You can see Texans move to 5. So now the Texans are getting 5. There's a really good chance the Giants win by exactly 4. And people probably opened like 3.5, and that's how they double clip people. They do it all the time. So that one I like. They moved the Saints to even. I still like them. We'll be getting a little bit better odds, which is nice. And I'm staying away from Green Bay. I would fade them. I know everybody likes them now. They're saying now Rodgers is going to play so good. Maybe you're right. I think he plays the role of jobber. I could be wrong. Now, so for this game, I would be fading the Packers. I'm taking Dallas plus 3.5. Or I'm sorry, minus 3.5. Cardinals, Rams, I thought about for a while because obviously they're even saying it in the narratives, like which team is going to get back on track. Well, the Cardinals, the Rams can afford a loss a little more than the Cardinals here. Not a lot more, but a little more. And even though they haven't played great, and I hear Kyler Murray might be out. I'm not sure if that's true or not. He's questionable. He'll probably play. And Stafford's questionable. But we got the Rams at home here, and it is an interesting one because I feel like, again, the Cardinals were never expected to be a playoff team, but they are getting a slight push. That being said, I know I have some Cardinal fans in the chat, but I am going to go with the Rams for narrative purposes. I think they're weak enough that you'll have enough people taking the Cardinals plus 3 where it's not going to, where Vegas can still, they might not beat the public, but they're going to not take a beating. And at the same time, I know it puts the Cardinals at 3-7, and I know it puts them essentially not out of the playoffs, but if the Cardinals were to win, it makes the division a lot closer. But you also have to remember, even with a loss on Seattle, you have San Francisco and you have Seattle in that division that are going to be games ahead of these teams. So even if the Cardinals make it interesting and win, and they're both, and the Rams are 3-6, the Cardinals are 4-6, it's hard to make it a divisional battle. At this point, these teams are wild card teams. So that's why I like the Rams. I do think they push them a little bit down the road and at least make them a team that's a thought of getting in the playoffs. I don't see that with the Cardinals. I know a lot of people disagree with me, but especially seeing how they pushed Geno and the Seahawks, I don't see them doing it with the Cardinals as well. They usually reserve that for one team and like extra team in the division. So, like I said, even if the Seahawks were to lose here, which I think they will, I don't think it makes it that much more interesting for Arizona. So for 4 o'clock, I do like the Rams, and I do like them to cover the 3. The other one here is Colts Raiders. Like I said, that one I'm playing the over. I'm not playing the game. If I had to play the game, I would look at the fact that the Raiders are giving 4. It's a very suspicious number, and I would probably take them to cover only because the way they've been playing, it should be about even in my opinion, even at home. Maybe they should be giving like 2, but 4 to me is a little, when you look at look at the Giants who are giving 5 against the Texans. So some of these games, they just don't line up. But for storyline purposes, I do like the Raiders to cover the 4. I think they're going to keep that division a lot more competitive than the AFC South. So for that being said, I think the Raiders and the Broncos both win today. And as you know, I'm fading Rodgers. For tonight's game, it's another interesting one. And again, another one I was back and forth on. I'll do a separate video on that. But essentially, I'm leaning towards the Chargers. I've noticed a lot of these primetime games where you see a pretty hefty point margin, and you assume if it's too high, it must be a trap. It seems to get covered more often than not. So for that and for the reason, I think they can't make the Niners look too strong. They already got Christian. We already know they're a strong team. So I think making them look, too strong, it just doesn't make sense. As far as basketball, I will have my picks out. I'm not playing the noon game, so that's the reason I don't have that one out. They could do anything with this game. These teams play a lot this year, and the Knicks could win and not cover. They could be spoiled. So this one I'm staying away from. I do like the Wolves-Cavs game, but that's not till 6, so I'll go into them. But for now, yeah, I just wanted to add those over-unders on the football games and go into just specifically why I like a few of these teams. You know my opinion on Aaron. At this point, I don't think there's a comeback story. There's only room for one comeback story, and that comeback story is going to be this guy. This guy looks like Ninkovich. He looks like Aaron, in my opinion. But anyway, there's only one comeback story, and that's Russell, and the backup comeback story is Brady. So we're not going to have 3 comeback stories in the same year. I don't think that just makes sense. So yeah, I think we see more of the same. I think Rodgers gets completely painted into the turf by Dexter Lawrence and anyone else that wants to, sack him because he likes taking sacks out of field goal range. I think he throws a couple interceptions in the first quarter. I don't know if he's that bad, but he's just going to do stupid things. Like, I would not be surprised if they finished and lost every game from here on out. He did something wrong, clearly. So that's my opinion on those games later. It seems kind of trappish, but I am going to pick the Rams to hold. I am going to pick the Raiders to cover. And I'm fading the Packers here. I'm going to take the Cowboys minus 3.5. As trappish as it looks, I think it's on Fox. They want to shame this man. They want to make him look as bad as they can. And what better way than on Fox against America's team? So that's what I have. And like I said, I'll be focusing on Broncos a lot, but I wanted to get out my over-under picks. So take care, and